The only comment I'm gonna make is on there, is that you guys have the money to do Niagara Falls. Any one of those cities.
Hey, why, answer the question, because you
I
put it up there.
am answering the question. Any single one of those cities would do their due diligence and contact Niagara Falls.
And James,
That's the end of the story.
But James, we ran Niagara Falls. For us, we got 100 machines working. We didn't want to stay in Niagara Falls. There wasn't enough money in it.
It wasn't a sale, it was a trial. It was for us to
Okay,
prove out the
and then why
technology.
did you take the meters out in the middle of the night?
Well, for some reason,
And then why didn't you pay to restore it to its original state?
It wasn't part of our contract.
Yeah, it wasn't part of our contract.
Why is that a concern of yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't notify the city that you're taking the meters out, you do it in the middle of the night, shouldn't that ask you guys some questions?
Wow.
Regardless, go on.
Probably would just provide the least amount of interruption to the city, to be honest. And fundamentally, we had a contract that expired.
Yeah.
Good.
The trial came to an end.
And how much?
Anyway, I just want to answer Paul's question, because that was a very good question about how we're going to run this meeting, okay? First of all, this is not an AGM or a special shareholders meeting that comes with a bunch of rules and regulations around how you do that. And we would have had to give 21 days notice to do that, and we weren't able to do that. This is an information session. We've invited you as friends and shareholders in a sort of unofficial capacity. And therefore, we don't have to follow all the same rules that we would in an AGM, okay? A couple of key issues that how we want to run this. First of all, we have affidavits from former employees that state that Mr. Hill is a paid employee of NATCO. It's been submitted in the court record, so it is public information that you can access on the internet, just like Stacy, Stacy creates an affidavit that he swears, then puts it into the court files. Now we're able to see that on public websites, so therefore it's public information. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's ever seen its day in court to be proven whether it's true or false. But fundamentally, once you place it on that public records site, it's public, so we can't do anything about it. But equally, we have petitions stating that we believe Stacy Hill is a paid employee of NATCO from third-party independents. So, given that, and given that the company has an actual personal lawsuit against Mr. Hill, we want to give him the chance to talk about specific issues, to go through his list of questions, and give you any time you want that we can discuss your issues. Once that's finished, then we're going to ask you to leave the room. We have every right to do this. This is an informal AGM, okay? So that we can talk about some of the specific things that may be in conflict given your employment of NATCO and your lawsuit against the company.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I have not received one penny from NATCO nor any third party.
Wow.
Period. End of story.
Does not include any future possible earnings, indirect or direct.
And
I wish I was working for NATCO, but I'm not.
well,
Period.
I'm just saying I can go by the sworn evidence that we have from a third-party individual who has nothing to gain from either of these
They
things.
can make a statement, but it's got to be proven, and it'd be very easy.
Very good point. Has to be proven, yeah. Just like all your affidavits that are out there on your public website that have not been proven, have not seen their day in court. But anyway, regardless of that,
Okay, but
Stacy,
hang on a minute.
regardless of that,
Okay.
we're going to give you the chance to talk,
Yeah,
and then we're going to ask you to leave, okay?
I may or may not.
Well,
Let's go.
Because one of the things I'd like to ask too is one of our directors, which is not here unfortunately, Jason Mitchell, you filed a complaint against the Law Society against him.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? It was really interesting because it looked like it was almost drawn up by a lawyer. I didn't think you had that talent.
I have lots of thoughts you don't know about.
Why would you do it?
Why not?
Well, again, it hurts the company, I think, isn't it?
Listen,
Yeah, you don't have to answer it. I think we know where it's going. So,
Can I ask a question for Stacy?
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know a lot of the details of what's going on aside from what I read on the emails from Stacy and on the PVT website and stuff. But I did see the CTV clip, and my impression from that is that there is a close relationship between Stacy and NATCO kind of working against PVT. So I would just like to ask Stacy, like, would it be fair that I would have that impression, or is that impression inaccurate according to you, Stacy?
well, good question. If you look what you see on TV, one would have to assume that we have a very close relationship. I mean, you'd be a fool not to,
Yeah.
but you have to remember that's an assumption. That's just an assumption.
And then that's my assumption from watching the clip. Then I get to ask you right now, so you can tell me this is an assumption that's false or an assumption that has validity.
I am I'm going to preclude NACO out of that for a second, because I am very good friends with Hans. And as Hans sits on the board of directors, I am not privy to inside information, and I do not discuss. I go out of my way not to discuss stuff with him, because I mean that conflict of stuff through a public company, we know what that can, how much harm it can do. And I mean, this is, let's face it, this is all an ugly situation. But once you get the SEC involved through stuff like that, it gets way worse. So, no, I mean, Hans and I are close, but we're not close on that sort of a business relationship, if that's what you're asking. Okay, I hope that's answered it.
That does, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Stacy, maybe you can explain to these people how we at PVT came to know NATCO.
Well, I introduced him.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
And had that deal concluded, and NATCO provided the funds that they said they would, and gone on to raise the millions of dollars they were supposed to, how would that have benefited you?
Well, Fred made it very clear that there was nothing in it for me, and that's usually where the money comes from. And there was nothing in it for me from NACO's side, because
Sorry, I sent him an email that you sent me to all the shareholders, I believe. They would have got a copy of that a long time ago in the first piece of correspondence that you said you were looking for, you were deserving something, you were owed something.
You're absolutely correct. I was owed something. But you told me on 2 or 3 circumstances that good, you're lying again.
No,
that I would not.
I think there's emails you were still looking for it, and I don't think I've ever concluded anything out of it.
Well, because you told me right to my face that I would never.
I just want to clarify that there was something in it for you. You were looking for something.
I was looking for something.
I think the discussion with you and your partner, Robert DeJong, by the way, who will have nothing to do with them now, was somewhere in the order of $600,000 at least. That's what you guys were looking for?
That is absolutely, what was close now? It could have been 3, could have been 9, I don't know the number, I can't remember, a long time ago. But
I remember the number, because I remember the meeting very specifically.
You told me under no uncertain terms that PVT would not pay you and Robert Young a finder's fee.
Sorry, I don't remember that.
Well, naturally you wouldn't, Fred. There's lots of stuff you don't remember.
Well, as a fellow member of the board, there was never a definitive discussion on that, and that would have been a board discussion.
You're absolutely right, but he never said it was going to be a board discussion. He says, you're not going to get it. You're going to have to talk to NATCO.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what he told me. So, whatever.
No.
So you
But
talked
fundamentally-
about that.
So I talked to NATCO, and NATCO said it was
So,
the person who receives the cash, like is in PVT, it was their responsibility to give me some. That's the normal standard process. So I said, okay, I don't care. I've got some NATCO shares.
You're also a shareholder, so you benefit regardless.
Well, that's why I brought them to the table.
Yeah, but then why are you trying to derail everything? You're losing as well as the rest
I'm
of us.
just curious, how much money did you invest in this company? How much cash did you actually pay for your share?